Okay guys, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the move that I think everyone is sort of searching for, and it's the area that I get the most amount of questions, and hopefully in this video it'll add an element of clarity in terms of that there are different ways of swinging the golf club, but fundamentally there's always two things that we are trying to do. The first thing that we need to understand is the concept of width. Okay, now the best way I think to demonstrate this, and the best way for you to potentially experience this, is by using a bit of string. So if I grab my bit of rope and I tie it underneath my left shoulder here, this piece of string now represents my left arm in the golf swing, and it's easier to see. Okay, so as I take hold of this with just my right hand, what needs to happen for me to apply width in the swing basically means that I need to make sure at every point in time this piece of string stays as taut as it was in the beginning position. Okay, so I'm not saying it's like a plucked guitar string, I'm just saying it's not loose. Okay, so as I swing back, like so, as I swing down, as I swing into post impact, and then eventually it'll fold because my right arm will be in a differing position. But that's the first thing that we need to understand, is applying width. Now, the other thing that you need to sort of bear in mind with this is if I sort of do this from two perspectives but hold the club. So from the face-on perspective, as I take it back, you can clearly see what I'm talking about. So as I allow my trail arm to bend, stays like so. As I start the downswing, stays like so. So at no point in time am I doing anything like so to sacrifice the width move, like this. So coming down. So if you're somebody who starts your downswing and you like the feeling of throwing the club, that's fine. As long as you don't throw the club like this, yeah, and you throw it like this, then that'll work. If you're somebody who likes to drive the elbow, that'll work, as long as this stays like that. So that's what you need to do. But you also need to understand, if I do it from the side-on perspective here, that when we're applying the width move, it's an outward force. It's like I'm pushing the club outward. And I'm going to show a drill in a moment which will help you get the feeling for this as well. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to understand, is that there are differences, as I'll show you, with how your arms can move, but the constant is that you need to be applying pressure. Your trail palm needs to be applying pressure to keep the arm structure staying wide on the swing. Now, the other thing that's really important is your rotational motion, okay? Because the only way that I can keep this arm structure working good is if I rotate correctly, or if I rotate well. Now, there are differing degrees of rotation. We see some pros that open it more than others, but I need to make sure. So if I'm swinging the club down in this direction, down the range here, I need to make sure that as I come into the downswing, I open up my body, as I'm demonstrating here, so that my hands can keep applying pressure to keep the club in front of me. If I'm somebody who sort of stands up, I can't keep applying pressure outward because I can't get to the back of the ball, so that's why your arms will fold. So the thing that you're ultimately looking for in the golf swing, in my opinion, this is what I do with all my students online, is you need to understand good rotation, so learning how to rotate while staying in posture, accompanied by the concept of width. And if you do that, you will generally find that you'll have a very good golf swing. Because it doesn't matter whether we looked at somebody like Shane Lowry or Freddie Couples, they're in a position something like so, but they're still applying width. It's not like they're doing this. Do you see what I mean? Now you look at somebody like Jon Rahm, who takes it more this way, you know, it's exactly the same. There are different ways to move in the start of the downswing. Some pros like a rotation, the hands stay more in front. Somebody like Garcia will drop his arms down as he'll rotate. But the point that I'm trying to provide is that they're always applying width to their piece of string, which gives them much amount of consistency. So the way you practice improving is actually very simple. You can either go and get some rope and do that exercise, which would be potentially very beneficial, so that you could do around the house to build up your awareness. But the other thing that you can do is a hand separation exercise. So if I sort of put my hands on the club, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate my fingers on my right hand, okay, off the club. So I just keep the index knuckle in contact with the side of the handle, like so. Now the reason why that's important is because as I now swing this club back, I can feel that my hand is pushing that club away. You know, not like too much to the point where it strains my arm, but I can feel it's helping me keep that element of tension the same as I had on that piece of string. And as I start the downswing and I rotate my body, I can feel again my hands are pushing. And then as I swing through, they're pushing. So my palm is always pushing that club, like so. So it helps me keep that lead arm straight. And I think that's the kind of secret ultimately that we're all after, because what I'm basically saying is the same with all my students. Ultimately, you can swing the club however you like, as long as you're abiding by two principles: that you have good concept of width and you have a decent rotation that can help you get into a good impact. So you can hit some shots like that. Yeah, see the way my hand stays in contact, and then you can advance it. So you can swing it a little further. Okay, so you can see the way my palm stays in contact with my thumb, and then you can do it further. Okay, and that's a fantastic drill. Very difficult drill, don't get me wrong, but it's a fantastic drill. If you're serious about learning a good golf swing, it's the kind of drill that you need to be practicing. See you soon.